I'm your host, Madrina Ciano, and welcome to Rolling with Madrina. I'm a community service organizer, motivational speaker, and an advocate for the people. I am living proof that your struggle can be your story and your trauma can be your triumph. I've dedicated my life to giving back, and I want you to roll with me while I speak with those in our community who are doing what they do best. Now watch and listen for what you can do to join their cause. Aloha, and thank you for watching Rolling with Madrina. We're coming to you from Blab TV down in Pensacola, Florida, and it is Leap Day. Once every 4 years, we get to, celebrate Leap Day, and I've always wondered, would I have aged slower if I was born on Leap Day? It's like one every 4 years. That's like half a dog year. So anyway, happy Leap Day, and I've got one of my favorite organizations back in the studio today. I've had my girlfriend here before. This organization I want you to pay attention to. I want you to learn all the things that they do because it's sort of a one-stop shop and a resource for those who may find themselves in need when life has challenges. And they're going to tell you, like, what kind of challenges, Madrina? A lot of them. We've brought some of the big wigs in today from the organization and a past client and intern. And I'm talking about the amazing change makers and light bringers from Lutheran Services. Ta-da! That's us. Welcome.
Thank you.
Look, I know it's Leap Day, and I see you've got your red on in preparation for Valentine's.
Oh, yeah.
Welcome, and thank you for being here.
Thank you so much for having us. We're very excited to be back.
Second time filming with the brand new backdrop, and first time filming with our new mugs. Aren't y'all jealous?
Yeah, it may be raining outside, but it is sunshine in here.
It's sunshine. I got all my Hawaiian
this is great.
Legendary scenes from when I go back home, and we've got that here today. So we're still playing around with our new 2024 backdrop. So we hope that you're enjoying it, and we've got new mugs from Blab. So thank you so much. But Sherry and Jamie and Jamelyn are here to talk about Lutheran Services. Jamie is the outreach coordinator, and she came this time with their regional director. Woo, woo, woo. And also, I can't wait to hear the story from Jamie Lynn, who was a former client when she was a teenager or a young child, and how it changed her life and changed the trajectory of her life. And so let's take a listen to what all that they have to tell us and learn all things Lutheran Services. So who wants to give the elevator speech? What is Lutheran Services? What do you do, and for who?
That would be me. What we do is we change lives every single day. That's what we do.
I love that, Jamie.
Thank you. Don't make me cry this
I know,
early.
I got my tissue.
I got mine. Anyway, we change lives, and we do that by the services that we offer in our community. Most people don't know us as Lutheran Services, but they know us as the programs that we provide. One of those is Curry House and Hope House Youth Services. That's their shelters, and those are for kids ages 10 to 17. And we also provide community.
Both houses are for 10 to 17-year-olds?
Correct.
Is the Hope House a new secondary location?
Well, it's not new, but it's over in Crestview.
Oh, okay.
So,
this is the first time I recall hearing of it. I might have heard of it, but this is out in Crestview, but the Curry House is here in Escambia.
Yeah,
okay.
That's right.
Yep, just off Fairfield.
Okay.
And then we also do community counseling, and community counseling is for kids and their families ages 6 to 17, which is a big change for us because when we started, it was like 12 to 17. So that age is 6 to 17.
When did you lower that age?
It's been a few years now because we were finding that families were having trouble earlier, and so we want to be available to all the families without any kind of barriers. So we lowered the age because it was supposed to be prevention, and we were finding that when we were waiting until 12 years old, that was already too late. We needed to get in there sooner to kind of help the kids and their families on a much earlier basis.
Were you surprised by that you were seeing the types of problems you were in 6-year-olds?
Yeah, we weren't surprised because it was unfolding in front of us, and that's what we were seeing on a regular basis. But we were really glad when the network, because we're part of the largest DJJ program. It's a Florida network of youth and family services, and as part of that network, they rallied to lower the age range too across the state because it's in Florida statutes that we provide these services, the send-spend services. And so we were excited when they lowered that age range for us.
Very good.
Yeah.
So for our viewers that are watching, where do you get your funding from? What are your different revenue channels?
we get the primarily, which is the funding comes from the Department of Juvenile Justice. It's actually prevention dollars, because they learned that prevention services are so much cheaper than correction services. And as a matter of fact, there was a new study. We had a study back actually about 2011. It was great, and it said for every dollar that we spent, that we saved $5.50 of DJJ money. They just hot off the presses did it, and for every dollar saved, they saved like $9.90. So it's a significant savings for DJJ. I would take that CD rate any day of the week, you know.
Right.
And we just know it works so much. And you know, James says we change lives, and we absolutely do. I like to say that, you know, we help families and kids learn to use their words instead of their fist, to kind of make changes in their family, because so often we get kids in families who struggle with domestic violence, and it starts over cell phones, it starts over the television, it starts over technology and games and all of that stuff, and they get so frustrated with each other that they come to fisticuffs and blows and hit each other. And so we teach them to use their words instead of their fist. So
what is the focus on your services? Is it domestic violence, or I know it covers the gamut. So I'm setting you up, sis, to tell us everything.
Well, and also we're the mental health provider inside Gulf Coast Kids House. And we've been that from the beginning. And just real quick, other funding is we have HHS funding.
That's Health and Human Services.
Yeah, and Department of Juvenile Justice, and I think you said DCF, Children and Families. Yes. So,
and do you get private donors, or would you like to?
Yes, we do. We take donations. Yes, everyone. We take donations. We love volunteers. As a matter of fact, we need some new volunteers. Some coming up. So yes, we would love to have more of that.
So who reaches out to Lutheran Services? Who would be in the need for what you do?
Oh my gosh, Madrina, it's endless. It could be people just having a hard time at home.
What do you mean by hard time? Like financially, emotionally, mentally?
Well, let's talk about criteria.
Yeah, exactly.
You do criteria. That's your specialty.
Criteria. Okay. So what we call the bread and butter of our programming, Sven's program, that it's runaway, truant, ungovernable, and homeless. And we use the word ungovernable.
I was actually thinking. I was going to ask
that
you
mean?
that. I think I might have been that as a teenager.
Well, I'm pretty sure we all have been that at some point, right? I know, for sure. So really what ungovernable means is a parent says to you, I give up. I don't know what else to do. And that could be, for one family, it could be my straight A student is now making C's, and that's a huge thing. And we take that very seriously. Or unfortunately, it could be on the much deeper end where there's domestic violence or sexual abuse or serious substance abuse or any of those things. And we welcome those families in. And if we do prevention work, what we have to do is we'll do an assessment, and if it's beyond prevention, we'll refer them to deeper end services so they can get connected with the resources that they need. So,
but other than that, you have in-house counseling.
Oh yeah.
What is it that you offer? So, let's say someone calls you. How do they reach you? You've got a phone number, sis?
850-453.
Yes.
2772.
We'll get that on the screen. But they call you and they say, I'm not even sure what I'm at my wit's end. You say, come in, there's an intake appointment.
Yeah, well, we'll do a little screening with them to make sure they meet criteria, because we don't want to waste anybody's time. Nothing worse than going someplace, finding the time to get there, and then they get there and say, sorry, we can't help you. So we do a little screening on the phone to make sure they meet criteria. And basically, it's runaway, truant, ungovernable. I know I said that before, or homeless, but not under supervision with DCF. So it's because it's prevention dollars. So there can't be open investigation or anything like that with DCF. Once an investigation is closed, we're welcome to take them. We'd love to take them again. More prevention services.
Who could help them in the midst of an investigation?
Well, technically DCF. I mean, that's what they're doing. They have counselors to serve those kids, and as soon as they close that case, they can refer them to us. And oftentimes, unfortunately, families will come to us, and we're mandated reporters, and so we may have to report if something was not safe in the house, and we would do that. But we can serve them if we report open, and we just can't take them at the beginning.
But aren't we all mandated reporters?
Yes, in the state of Florida, yes, we are.
Would you please tell our viewers what a mandated reporter is?
Okay, I will, absolutely. A mandated reporter is if anyone sees or suspects or hears or sees anyone who's been abused in any kind of way, way, physically, sexually, emotionally, mentally, any kind of thing, then we're all of us, even the guy behind the camera back there, are all mandated reporters, because it happened many years ago where people, it was a football case, you remember that, and this big kid who any of us would look at him and say, well, of course this guy wouldn't let that happen, and there were so many people in our communities who were nearby, saw things that looked hanky and funny, and they're like, no, and so anyway, the state of Florida did a great job and said, you know what, you're all mandated reporters now, so you have to do it. And of course, now we're also mandated, obligated, extra.
And then now everybody
professionally mandated.
What does one do with this information? Is there a mandated reporter hotline, or is it just
yes,
911, or what is that?
That's a good question. It's actually 1-800-96-ABUSE. So, and yeah, you call that number and you just tell them what you're seeing. I mean, honestly, I've done it. I was in Target and this woman was chasing after a child and beating him with the hairbrush, and I'm like, this is not okay.
Yeah, I can't go to Target because I would have been beating the mother.
Right, I know.
Yeah, it's crazy with the hairbrush. I was driving to the office one day.
Imagine
Well,
what
this
they
lady
do
was
at
in a
home.
truck,
Right.
beating a baby in the car seat, and I got her tag number, and she saw me and followed me in the parking lot, but I'm like, no, that's got to be reported.
Yeah, it's
And it's hard, so we don't want to say that it's not.
No, it's-
that when you have a child that's coming and staying and spending the night with your friend, I mean, your children, or you're at a ballpark and you see something like that, it's very hard to do it, but it's going to change your life. It's
well,
gonna
it
make a
does,
difference.
because somebody's not watching out for that kid. You'd think that other people would be doing it, but you know if people are going to do it. So
I'm
we
like,
step
my
up.
husband's always like, what are you clocking now? Like, I'll see like a young girl, like someone I think that looks suspect. I'm like, I'm clocking them in Walmart.
I'm the same way.
Them at the restaurant.
Yeah.
Like, what are you
Following
looking
them
at? I'm
around.
making sure.
Yeah.
Because I'm a mandated reporter.
Yeah.
That's right. I got a job to do.
That's right.
Thank you.
That's right. But we're going to take a short break, and we come back. We're going to actually hear from Jamie Lynn, who was a client of DCF back in her teen years, and life changing. That's the word she uses, is life changing, and she's going to tell you what she's doing today as a result of the help that she got at Lutheran Services. So we'll be right back.
Do you want to create but don't know where to start? Our new fabric line will inspire you. If you can dream it, we can help you make it. From using kits that include everything you would need, to taking classes to create something more personalized, Daryl's is the place for you. No matter if you're just beginning or experienced, Daryl's has you covered. Find us at 6705 North Davis Highway, open 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. Monday through Friday, and 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. on Saturdays.
You think getting dumped by text is harsh? Try getting dumped by a tennis ball. My ex-owner drove me out to the woods, yelled fetch, and by the time I brought the ball back, he was gone. Yeah, I was pissed. But the folks at the shelter helped me let go of my anger. I learned coping skills, like taking it to the hole. Boom! Now I'm ready to fetch again. But how about I throw and you run and get it?
Hi, I'm Madrina. Be a mover and shaker in our community by helping others overcome problems ranging from health to substance abuse, from personal safety to neighborhood issues, from taking care of your kids to taking care of your parents. Come on our show and tell people how you did it. Be a community hero and watch Rolling with Madrina, Thursday nights at 8:30, only on Blab TV.
What do an aerospace engineer, cancer immunologist, and bat scientist all have in common? We all have cool jobs in STEM fields. Whether it's building robots or learning to code, girls everywhere are finding their passion for science, technology, engineering, and math through positive role models and mentors. So dare to dive in, get connected, and explore. You never know what your future may hold. Learn more about these and even more cool jobs at shecanstem.com.
Welcome back to Rolling with Madrina. I'm here with the ladies from Lutheran Services, and they've brought along with them a friend of Lutheran Services, a former client, and a former intern. And Jamie, I'll let you introduce her. You know the history. You go ahead and
Yes.
roll her in.
I'm going to let her share her history, but it's been amazing. I've seen her around professionally some, and her and I both last week, we are on a human trafficking council together for the community. And
Cool.
so she was there, and we got to talking, and I said, I have this opportunity. Are you okay to share your story? And she said, I am, and here she is. But I'll let you share her story.
Every time I'll share it.
Thank you so much. Because you know it's going to help someone.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. And I think you hear about organizations like this and you're not sure, should I call? Will it make a difference? And I can absolutely attest to it makes a difference. So I grew up in this community. I'm a true local, all 39 years of my life. And when I was 15, 16 years old, I was really struggling. I was starting that ungovernable phase, but more than anything, I was dealing with depression. I was dealing with family turmoil. I was dealing with unhealthy relationships, and I was really starting to spiral. And I had some beautiful friends who went to my guidance counselor. My guidance counselor went to my mother. And while we did not have a lot of resources as a family, my mother had an abundance of love. And she said, we don't have health insurance. I'm a single working mother. I don't know what to do to help my daughter. And my guidance counselor said, I've got someone to call. And put us in touch.
Bravo on the guidance
Yes.
counselors. And do every guidance counselor in all of our schools know this?
That's what I was going to say. I'm not sure. Miss Weber at Tate High School, 2000. Thank you. Thank
Shout
you.
out.
Thank you
Shout
so
out
much.
to her. Thank you. What an angel in our midst.
And I came to Lutheran Services and was able to get that free counseling that they offer. They offered up to 12 weeks. And that first day, I tell people, I went in and just the immediate relief, the relief that someone understood me, someone wanted to listen, someone wanted to help, not judge me, but really help me understand that there was nothing wrong with me. I was just young and dealing with a lot and didn't have the skills to do it.
Yeah.
I didn't have the skills to do it on my own. And I tell everybody it took a couple more years for me to get it all the way on track, but I did leave that first session going, I'm going to be a Miss Sonia for someone. That was my counselor's name. And I didn't know that existed. And sure enough, that's what I ended up doing. I ended up interning with LSF. I go Argos, bachelor's degree in social work. And during that time, they let me intern with their program. I went on to work at the partner agency, Sins Friends in Tallahassee, started my career there. So I was literally a Miss Sonia in Tallahassee, same program over there. And set me on the path where I've been able to work with hundreds of at-risk kids, children in foster care, children in the community. And now I'm a licensed clinical social worker. I'm a therapist myself. I am the executive director for the Nisi Project, and that's a nonprofit that works with survivors of human trafficking. So, but this whole journey, the whole journey of all the people that I've been able to help started with Lutheran Services, started with people in the community who saw something was going on, saw a kid in need, and a community that stepped up to help. And so,
What an amazing success story. Very touching. Like I see you tearing up and I'm choking back because I'm thinking, like, as you're traversing and then you're getting that help, you know, when you're building that journey and now you're reaching back and helping people, were you thinking of that 16-year-old and you're thinking about being that girl
every time.
that you needed? So now you're
every
that
time.
person.
Every time I was with a young person as a counselor over there, I just thought, look, if I can do it, you can do it.
Yeah.
You can do it. I promise you can do it.
And so that was through counseling?
Yes.
You got counseling. And how
Through
long
all
did you
of
go for? A couple of years? You went to counseling?
So initially it was it's wonderful. Again, no insurance, no out-of-pocket pay. It is a totally free counseling service, typically short-term, up to 12 weeks. But you'd be amazed of 12 weeks with consistency, with love, with validation, what can happen.
Yeah, turn the light bulb right on.
Right on. Changed
And who
everything.
does your counseling, Jamie?
We have master level counselors that are in our building there on Fairfield. And I wanted to share quickly because so many of us come in that have the stories like Jamie does. And I want to say that sometimes someone can come in and they start meeting with their counselor and then they're going to share that and they've not reported it to anybody and they're comfortable enough now and they share that they've been sexually abused. So of course we are the mental health provider inside Kids House. So we have that, you know, it's like, oh my gosh, we need to set you up for treatment here
Expedite
because
that
we want to
right away.
make sure that they're going to get the exact counseling and therapy that they need. But then also if they come in, sometimes things are getting rough at home. And like parents even realize, yeah, they don't need to be here right now. This is not going to be safe.
Right.
And we have shelter. So we can say, well, hey, let them stay in shelter and things can cool off so that
Parents
they don't.
sometimes surrender their children.
No, not surrender.
Not surrender,
They just let them stay.
Just
The
let them
parents
stay.
They're
Okay.
still the
just
guardians.
for a couple nights. Just for them to have a cooling off period of time, and then they continue counseling. So we have that whole gamut of services to help them through whatever it is they're going through.
Yeah.
And what does the community need to know about Lutheran Services that we may not already know? I mean, she really honed in on how useful the counseling services were and that they were free. I mean, this was just your typical teenage girl going through some teenage stuff. And when you're right there, you can really go dark.
Well, you know,
you
and
can
I was
really
headed
get
there.
off course.
Yes,
I was headed there.
And I really like the way Jamelyn said what she said because, you know, she didn't have the tools, the skills or whatever. And so many people feel like they should have it all together. Parents, sometimes they get embarrassed. Oh, I should know how to do this stuff. I should know how to raise my kid, which is absolutely crazy talk because there's no book, right? And we all have our life experiences that contribute to how we interact with the world. And you know, whatever it is, big or small, we can help. And there is no judgment. We just want to help families get along and do better. You
And
know?
so many years that saved you from heartache. I don't even really think I got counseling and really help and tools till I was in my 40s.
Oh my goodness. So glad you did, though.
So it was a lot of hard work.
Yeah.
In 40s.
Yeah.
I'll
Better
tell you,
late
a lot
than
of
never,
hard
though. I'll
knocks.
tell you that.
Yeah.
Always ask
When
for
you
help.
actually learn skills to battle with that. Not that problems never arise.
No, of
Not
course.
that you won't ever, you know, feel depressed ever again, but you know that that's temporary and that it passes and you can get out of that. But for people who've never received the tools and they don't know, especially those coming from very hurting homes,
Yes.
it's really hard to break a cycle until someone shows them the way.
Yeah. And, you know, you were talking about hurting homes, and that's exactly a lot of people will say because our services are at no cost, they're free of charge, that, you know, maybe we only serve the indigent population and that kind of thing. And that couldn't be further. We've had doctors, we've had teachers, we've
Law
had lawyers, we've had law
enforcement.
enforcement, you know, even other guidance counselors and stuff. And it's just wonderful to be able to have an extra person to be able to kind of help you sort through things, you know, because even though you think you should know it all, there's no way.
We're
You
not
can't
psychologists.
possibly.
We're not mind
Right.
readers. We're not counselors. I mean, we're just a human being who had a family, and then all of a
Yeah.
sudden you got all these problems. You're like, whoa!
Well,
Like,
and
I don't know how to work on my car. I don't know how to fix the kid. Like
Yeah.
it's just like you don't know. And so it took me a long time. And actually, it was my husband Mark Ciana who sent me to a life coach because
Oh,
I was
yeah.
just a raging lunatic. And he was like, yo, you need to calm down. And sent me to a life coach for many years and paid for it. I didn't know of Lutheran Services. No one ever had the nerve to tell me I needed help, that I was a raging lunatic. So once I finally went and got counseling, and they were like, well, you know, that's not quite normal. Like, well, how else would you deal with it?
Yeah.
Well, have you thought about this? No, I never did.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, and sometimes families will have 2 or 3 kids and they
Yeah.
right smooth on through, no
Yeah.
trouble at all. And all of a sudden they have one that gives them a little kick in the gut sometimes.
Yeah.
And they go, well, how come I can't get this? And they beat themselves
Right.
up rather than reaching
Right.
out.
Or they're in denial, they're embarrassed, they're ashamed. And then a lot of times they can't afford it. I mean, like
Yeah.
you said, today life is
yes.
hard.
Yeah.
People are struggling. They're in food banks when they never been. They're living
Yeah.
paycheck to paycheck. And that adds to that anger. It adds to that depression. It just adds to it.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah, and sometimes we have multiple families living together. You know, affordable
Yeah.
housing is very difficult to find in our
Very.
community, and so families are moving back in with.
Yeah.
So the grandparents are in the house with their kids, and sometimes the grandparents are raising their kids, and so you know that's a perfect scenario because there's some generation stuff and things are a little bit different. They didn't have cell phones when they were younger, when they were raising their kids, and it's a lot different. So we just encourage everybody to come in and take advantage of free services to kind of help, you know, and if she said 12 weeks, then we can do 12 weeks, but if we need to, we can extend to beyond that. And guess what? There's still no cost to that. So
Beautiful. Yeah, we've got like maybe 3 minutes here still, sis. Is there some important stuff you want to say about what services, programming, pricing, where to find you, what you do offer, and what you can do to help people?
What I think, Madrina, is that we need everybody to spread the word, to tell. There's a lot of people like Jamie that are not going to stand up and talk about that I've been to counseling or whatever difference that has made. And to let them know that all of our services are offered at no cost. You don't have to worry about, you can't pay a power bill and go to counseling. Your kids aren't going to eat because you're going to go to counseling. That it is free. And as many people that can stand up and just tell their story, like on a show on here, on their own social media platforms, just to let people know that there's not a stigma around it. Just tell your story. Because you can save a life, you can change a life.
And whether or not they know if they can meet your criteria, all they have to do is just call.
Just call.
And you'll
That's
tell them
right.
whether they do or not.
Absolutely.
And if you're not the agency to help them,
We
you're
will
going to send
direct.
them to an agency. And they can find you on Facebook, Instagram. Where can they find you?
We do have a statewide website.
Okay.
lsfnet.org.
LSF, Lutheran Services Florida.
Net.org.
Net.org. That's
That's it.
interesting.
That's us.
Okay, and you've got a brick and mortar of the
Yes.
Curry House. Where's it located?
At 4610 West Fairfield Drive.
All right. Sis, tell the universe what you need them to know and what they can do to help you.
Wow, again,
And a
spread your
perfect
story. Yeah, spread the story.
Do you take donations of items? Do you ever need used
Oh,
clothes?
yes.
Or what all do y'all need there?
We're always in need. That's all I can tell you, because we do have adolescents and then we have non-residential families that we work with. So any kind of clothes, any kind of, gift cards. Our kids love just having a $10 gift card to go somewhere in the shelter because they're trapped in. That's big. And they love that because we just don't have funding to do those activities. Any
Volunteers,
things.
corporate sponsors,
Yeah.
all the things,
All the
right?
things.
Anything that you can imagine a nonprofit needs, we're in need of. But corporate sponsors, like you said, and volunteers. Our kids love volunteers. If individuals come in and just spend time with them, it makes a difference, because when they're there with us all the time, we're like family. We're like parents. And if somebody comes in to spend a little bit of time with them, just go outside and play games with them, get up a sports game or whatever, they love that stuff.
Well, and also for people who maybe they've retired and have a little extra time on their hands, we need some volunteers. We have a variety of things. It could be something, if your skill set is administrative, we because of cuts, budget cuts and that kind of thing, we had to eliminate our reception person. And so we don't have
need.
anybody to greet, answer
And
the
you
door,
want all
answer
the
the
money
phone.
to go through
To the direct
services,
services.
and
So
the mental health
that's right.
stuff.
So we've pared everything down to where, so when you come in, there's not somebody sitting there, and we would love to have somebody from our
do that.
community. Yeah, just say
All right.
hello.
And I would say thank you.
All right,
Yeah.
you're welcome.
I'm so
Thank
excited
you,
to
Rocky.
be
Such
here.
an honor, such an honor to
Yeah,
be able
you
to
make a
serve
big
this.
impact.
I come from a hurting home, and so I understand. And thank you for watching. Reach out to Lutheran Services should you need them. Aloha.